I know.
Like we have seconds.
There it is, right there. Okay, we're going to bring to order the August 22, 2022 City Council meeting. And we'll begin with roll call, please.
Walters.
Here.
Dvorak.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Vogel. Here. Sarchet.
Here.
Item number 3, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve as presented. Second.
And roll call.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Moving on then to the public comment time. This is the time and place for comments for any item other than those that are a public hearing. Jenny, have we received any cards?
No, sir.
Okay, we will move on then to item number 5, which is the consent items, and I'll ask for a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Vogel.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Moving on to item 6, business items. We'll begin with Home State Bank. We have a resolution 1-2022-102, approving plat of survey including recreation trail easement. I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
And then I believe Kathleen is speaking, right?
Travis.
Travis is speaking. Oh, sorry, Travis. No problem. My bad. I have Kathleen written down here.
So for council's consideration tonight, we've got a plat of survey, including a recreational trail easement for the property in the northeast corner of Bridge Road and South 3rd Street intersection, as well as a site plan for a Home State Bank building. We've reviewed both documents, and they are in general conformance with Polk City Code, as well as all other applicable codes, and we recommend approval of these items.
Questions? Hearing none, we will ask for, call the roll, please.
Walters.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Moving on then to item 2, resolution 2022-103, site plan for Home State Bank. I'll ask for a motion, please.
So. Second.
Are you speaking on this too, Travis? Or is it,
I covered what we would like to present.
okay, good question.
So I on the site plan, question around the timing, and then from the changes that had, I don't know who's here. Look at, sorry, keep looking at the wrong person. But from what originally came to P&Z to the second time around, could you kind of just bullet point some changes and some of the impacts?
Yeah. From here?
Wherever, it doesn't
All right.
matter.
I'm Ben Jensen with Jake Orm, the design build on this project. So changes were really just minor changes to the building. So we added a curve to the south face and moved the prominence from a little bit from the corner more towards the center of the building. So the site plan itself really just accommodated the adjustments for the building, and then as well as some feedback from P&Z to get a trail access for the rest as well.
Okay. And so the entry point on 3rd hasn't changed,
No, it's cross from ID, same thing.
and that fits with the planned intersection improvements
Correct.
with IV and everything else going
Yes.
over there. No, okay.
Yes, so as part of the final platting process, we actually had Crossroads Lakes Plat 2's development engineer show those locations so that they have all been planned for. And anything that comes in on either this site or the site to the south had to adhere to those specific entrance locations.
I'm excited. I think this would be a good addition, so looking forward to new structure. Yeah. You know when start turning dirt here pretty quick? Or?
Yeah, the intention's to move in earnest, so got it out to bid, and then we'll be proceeding as we can.
Okay, do they have a target opening? Maybe premature,
A little bit sure.
This is Eric Hockenberry with Home State Bank, market president here. Excited to become part of the community here. I live just outside of Alden, so have 2 young kids, not in school yet, but getting close. I'll be part of North Polk School District, and we're excited to support the community with our project here. Home State Bank's been a long-standing bank out of Jefferson with the Garst family as ownership. This will be the first ever location outside of Jefferson, so long history of supporting communities, and look forward to doing that here in the city. So, great comments. Building will, as much as building plans go, we're all ahead, moving forward with that. So we'll build it with Ben's help and J Corp's help, get it open hopefully next year. So.
okay. I know that's a tough question, but those are the kind of questions.
Nothing stopping us besides building.
Okay, good, and welcome. That's good to know too. That I didn't know it was the first location outside Jefferson. That's great. Happy to have you.
Coming in. Thanks for this. That's also really good info. I wasn't sure of the history and so why, if I may ask, first one outside of town is outside of Jefferson. Is it because you live close here?
Yes,
Did you pull?
Yeah, I previously worked for the Garst family at a different bank that they owned, and they sold that bank, and I lived in the same location, but so came back to work for them and decided to open up. They wanted to be in the metro. They also own Raccoon Valley Bank out of Perry, and built in Grimes there, so they're familiar with me and the location, the customers. We have a good customer base already in market here in Polk City. We finance quite a few projects, so excited to be here. The community really is what drove us here. We're currently have a small office in Ankeny, but moving to Polk City is a community that feels like Jefferson, feels like our communities that we can support and have a bigger impact than somewhere else. So we're excited for that. And what you all created here in Polk City is the reason we decided to make it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your investment in the community and for future service. Look forward to having you.
Okay, we will ask for roll call then.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Dvorak? Anderson?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Moving on to item B, resolution 2022-104, approving plat of survey for camp property. I'll ask for a motion first, please.
So moved.
Second?
And then Travis, I think you're up again.
Yep. So for the council's consideration is a plat of survey that lies within the 2-mile extraterritorial jurisdiction for review by the city of Polk City and their staff. The plat of survey is dividing a larger plot of land owned by the Camps family north of town along the Sheldall Drive. This has been reviewed as a plat of survey. Any further subdivision on this plot of land will require a subdivision plat. So at that time, the city of Polk City will evaluate required public improvements, streets, layouts, trails, that kind of stuff at that time. So if this parcel were to be subdivided again. As part of this plat of survey, the small triangular section of the property in the southwest corner will be tied to the smaller lot that is the result of this plat of survey. Generally speaking, this matches Polk City's future land use plan, and the developer's engineer and the developer addressed all staff comments.
Thank you, Travis. Any questions, comments? We will call the roll, please.
We have, let's see, Vogel?
Yes.
Sarchet? Walters?
Yes.
Dvorak? Anderson?
Yes.
Item C, resolution 2022-105, approving preliminary plat for Holly Woods. I'll ask for a motion, please. First,
So moved.
Second.
Travis, you're up.
So for council's consideration is preliminary plat for Hollywood's plat 1. This plat's located in the northwest quadrant of the 44th Street and Highway 415 intersection, or just north of there. That is the closest intersection to this plat. As part of this, this preliminary plat has actually gone to P and Z twice. The first, fully adhering to our subdivision ordinance. The second, asking for an exemption to the accessory structures code requirements as part of Polk City Code. As part of the P and Z recommendation, they have recommended that the developer keep 2 designated structures that they cannot expand with further square footage, and then they may add an additional up to 450 square foot structure. We believe that this is generally within Polk City's future land use plan, and we recommend approval subject to a few items, including cleanup of the rezonings, as well as prior to final plat, signatures on a development agreement deferring or cost sharing for the trail along 44th Street.
So most of the discussion in P and Z was on the size of the accessory structure.
Correct.
And the reason for, was it the proximity to the size of that versus the residence or the size of the land? Some of it was hard to follow. I just want to make sure.
I believe it was generally related to the size of the land,
Okay.
more so than the
Percentage of the overall.
Correct.
Um,
I do believe that is the basis for P and Z recommending.
and we didn't have really good precedent for 20 acres on what that size can be essentially.
Correct.
So do we have somebody here? So are you comfortable with how that landed, or I don't know how specific you had your plans for that in mind?
Yes, the property are okay with that.
And the preliminary plat has been revised to reflect all of P and Z's comments and recommendations.
That includes the sanitary.
Correct.
Have all 5 of these recommendations been met?
So the recommendations that are required at this point, yes, have been. The ones that are still outstanding is prior to final plat approval, the development agreement, and then the cleanup rezoning, which essentially what happened is before this plat got broken out, they did some rezoning, and there's small pieces of non-R1 zoning that leak onto this property. So just from an enforcement perspective, the developer's going to clean that up after preliminary plat approval.
All right. If there's nothing else, we will call the roll.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Item D, engineering services agreement with McClure Engineering Company in the amount of $33,400 for the Polk City Elevated Storage Tank preliminary engineering report. I know Gary is here and we'll ask him to speak, but we'll ask for a motion first, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And Gary, do you want to speak on this?
Sure. Is it okay, Pat?
And Mayor, Council, and staff. Glad to be here tonight. Certainly appreciate the opportunity that we have in presenting, I guess, our proposed engineering services agreement. This agreement is really to lead you guys through the process that's required by both DNR and the typical funding agency, SRF, to get you guys started down the road of the planning and kind of pre-development of a new elevated storage tower to really meet the city's long-term needs. And so we've outlined in there within the agreement kind of the steps that we plan to take, the evaluation that we'll be going through, again, and lead up to meeting the DNR requirements and getting you guys through to what's called the intended use plan application for the SRF program, which is the anticipated funding source that the city is looking into. So I'm happy to try to answer any questions if there are specific questions. But again, just wanted to say thank you guys for the opportunity.
So, and this will be at least the design design and construction will be specific to somewhere in the 80 acres of.
Correct, yeah, as of right now, and I should have mentioned too, that Confluence is a partner of ours on this as well. We went through the RFQ process that you guys had, we certainly want to incorporate the vision that that Confluence has worked with the city on, and so they are a partner of ours in this planning stage of the process as well too, with the intention that obviously that park is going to be a major asset to the community. We want to make sure that a water tower that we're siting within there, which obviously is a very important component to your guys' growth, really it doesn't take away from the aesthetics or the functionality of the park as well, and so they are a partner of ours in the process.
And cost estimates, sorry. if I
We'll be
missed that.
developing those as part of the preliminary engineering report.
Okay.
So what'll come after this then is after we've identified within that park the location for this, there's obviously water transmission main connections, probably distribution connections to the areas with the new school that are near there as well, because you're going to loop that system into the existing distribution system also. So all of that kind of depends on height, elevation of the tower, size of the tower. As of right now, we're part of the evaluation is looking at, are you guys looking at 1 million to probably 1.5 million gallon elevated storage facility? There's obviously differences in cost, differences in foundation and base support. So there's some changes and stuff that go along with that. And then obviously where you put that, the transmission mains and water connections, land acquisition requirements, all those things kind of start playing into what are the design considerations and construction considerations that come next. So through the pre-planning work, the preliminary engineering report, we would really be defining all those pieces and then be coming back to council with a design agreement and design and construction phase engineering services agreement that would follow the preliminary engineering report, which is pretty typical on how you would go through this process.
Okay. And I guess the only other thing I would ask from a staff perspective, once we have this, is just I know focusing here on our land for the regional park, but just some sort of, it doesn't have to be vetted with any detail, but comparison to some of the other options with, additional infrastructure connection and cost to acquire land, just to kind of compare, are we money ahead where we are, or some options dealing with.
You guys will include that, right? We can
Yeah, as
talk
far
about
as
that a
other
little bit.
locations
Oh, okay.
outside of the park.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we did talk about that as well
Okay.
too. So we'll take some cursory look at other areas as well. Yeah, it obviously makes sense. The higher the elevation of the land that you have, the shorter you can make the tank while still providing the same level of pressure. And so it typically, it reduces the cost. Not always, obviously the geotechnical considerations are important as well, but those are the things we would look at. Once you get into that other piece, the nice thing about the sports park is obviously you control that from a
Yep.
city perspective. Some of those other areas you may have to acquire.
Yep.
That certainly adds to the schedule and some of the other things that you would want to consider as well. But that's certainly part of the engineering report as well.
Awesome, that's even better,
Yeah.
thank you. And if they haven't told you already, Mike is available 24 hours a day.
I had a cell phone.
So do I.
Mike, did you have something?
I do. Well, first of all, I told Gary he'd probably just have to introduce himself tonight, and he's already spoke for 5 minutes or more, so thanks for that. by the way.
Absolutely.
But, I wrote a memo to council, and you probably all have read it, but I really do want to say a little bit more about, the process we went through. We interviewed 5 firms, then we went to a second interview with the committee of council members, mayor, and administration and public works, and interviewed the same 3 that we had picked from that point. So, of course, McClure had come out on top of that. It was a pretty good process, to be honest with you, and I welcome Gary here. As you can see, I think their firm will be really good to work with. They're already laying groundwork, knowing our city. That was shown in the interview process. So, welcome, and I'm glad to get going. Right, this is what we've been waiting for. This is where the rubber hits the road, right here. So we've been talking, and now we're going.
I'll add on to it. So I appreciate the comments. We're really looking forward to working with you guys. Appreciate the trust you guys are putting in us. This is what we do all day, every day. So I'm the vice president of our water group. I should have actually said that at the beginning. This is we nerd out on water and wastewater. That's what we do. We love it, and we're really excited about working with Mike, his team, and the rest of the staff to help lead you guys through this process. This is obviously an important asset. It's something that's going to be there for a very long time, serving you guys. So we want to make sure that we're doing this the right way, and so it's prudent to go through the planning process like we're talking about. Obviously, schedule is important. You don't want to impede your growth, and obviously, water service is a big part of all the development stuff that we talked about just a little bit ago during the first part of the agenda. And so we're really looking forward to the opportunity to work with you guys, and we're pretty passionate about this type of work. We do this kind of work quite often. We just helped. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Grimes project that went up, the water tower that they just put up. We were part of that process as well too. So again, we're just really looking forward to working with you guys. This is fun for us.
I just will say, while I don't nerd out on water stuff, we all nerd out on taking care of our community here. And this is one of those things that people aren't going to be like, yes, a new water tower. But it's the kind of thing that is really important to move forward with and keep up with, so our citizens don't notice, so we don't run into a problem. So very exciting to be moving forward with this. This is something our community really needs. So excited to be taking a first step forward on this.
Thanks, Gary and Mike. So we will call the roll, please.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
We usually hear that from the other end
I
of
know.
the table.
That's the engineering connection.
Moving on to E, Resolution 2022-106, ordering construction of certain public improvements, fixing dates for public hearing, and taking of bids for West Bridge Road Water Main Loop Project improvements. I'll ask for a motion first, please.
We'll move. Second.
Travis, you're up.
So for council's consideration tonight, we are setting the dates and taking bids for the West Bridge Road Water Loop Project. So this project will make the connection from the existing cross at the intersection of Parker Boulevard and West Bridge Road to the existing water main about 250 feet east of that intersection. Originally, this project was meant to be a competitive quotes project, and then as we observed and evaluated the bidding climate, we determined that a public bid would likely yield city the best results as well as the best pricing. So we have selected this time of year to bid it, and we have written into the contract documents the option to either complete the work yet this fall or early next spring to make this project as desirable for potential bidders as possible.
It's a 22 budgeted item, correct?
This was in last year's budget, and we need to do an amendment for 23. So we will be presenting you with a budget amendment at the next council meeting, but we borrowed the money in 22, budgeted for it in 22, then we didn't get favorable bids, so pushed it off to this year.
Thinking that's now. Hoping gonna happen now.
So we have had similar projects in other communities bid favorably,
Okay.
I guess relative to what's been happening for the last 2 years. We're hopeful that giving the contractors the option to either complete it yet this fall or next spring will allow them to, if a crew is available for a week and a half or 2 weeks, come in, knock the project out real quick, and then be done with it on their schedule, which will make the project much more desirable.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, so on this project, Public Works has tried to make it a little more attractive too by doing some of the grubbing and tree work ourselves in conjunction with the contractor. So actually today, the contractor was down there and took a few limbs down. Our crew will be down there helping get rid of it all tomorrow. So that tree grubbing that sometimes these contractors don't like to do, we're trying to at least take that off the table. Now, that money probably just got swallowed up in inflation over the last 6 months, but we're trying to make it more attractive also and doing a little bit of work ourselves. So just throw that out there.
Thank you. We will call the roll.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Yes.
Moving on to item F, first reading of ordinance 2022-2200, amending chapter 166 signs. I'll ask for a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Chelsea, report, please.
Yes, so for the council's consideration tonight is an amended chapter 166, which is our sign ordinance. The amendment addresses two issues and concerns that have come up recently. So last month, the council approved a site plan for Scooters Coffee. If you all recall, that project was unique in that their proposed building was 700 square feet in size. So they were very limited on what they could have for signage. When the site plan went through the Planning and Zoning Commission, the commission had asked us to review our sign ordinance to allow for unique projects. So that is what we have amended in the ordinance. The proposes to the ordinance would allow a building of up to 1,000 square feet to have a maximum of 100 square feet in signage. And then also the changes would allow a building that does not have immediate street frontage to have 2 square feet per lineal foot of building frontage with a maximum of 150 square footage in signage, which would address the lot behind Scooters that doesn't have immediate street frontage. Does the council have any questions about the amended ordinance?
No questions on what I'll deem as the cleanup here. I do have, since we're talking about the sign ordinance, I have some thoughts on other aspects that we could revisit. I don't know if that's best to do in a work session, but I didn't realize, and I know this was 3 years ago when we changed significantly revamped the sign ordinance, the impact for temporary signs, and most specifically for not-for-profit organizations, churches, and Legion, those type of work. So I think we've adversely affected those groups. They feel that way. And so I'd like to visit that or discuss that. So I don't know if it's straightforward, if there's agreement, or if it's a discussion to be had, but since we're opening the sign, plug in for that possible change down.
With your comment, are you thinking that we would amend the ordinance? Or are you asking for us to amend the fee schedule?
I'm not sure. And that's maybe where the discussion comes in. Because again, I don't know where anybody else is at with this, but I don't think it should require any approval to put out signs for fish fry, for a special service, for the festival, those kind of things. But what I don't know is by allowing that, do you open up other things that do want control? And so, I don't know. I do get a little bit leery of, I know we talked about just waiving, depending on the tax status. They're a benevolent organization, and I think that's a step in the right direction, but I don't know. I would like to make it easy for those types of groups to do business, and I don't know, by remembering to fill out a form, break it down here, or even send it online, and then, wait for a waiver of the fees, if that does as much as I would like to see. Again, it's just it's not straightforward answer that you're looking for there, I know.
Do you have a suggestion on that?
I think we'll have to look at it. I mean, I'm
Okay.
not sitting here tonight. I wouldn't have one off the top of my head.
Okay, so the section he's referencing is the temporary sign section in the sign ordinance. But I think we can take a look at that.
Yeah, and to paint in broad strokes, and Mike, I think you were involved in this before, but we had a lot of signs all over the place. And I think we made good progress in cleaning that up, and I don't devalue that work. But in the cleanup of, you know, a lot of different stuff, I won't use an example, but losing the ability again for the festival to put out their stuff, for the Legion to put out fish fry and bingo and that kind of stuff, and even churches with services, I think is a little bit of an overstep. So, and again, I voted for that again 3 years ago, whenever we did that. So, I don't want to go back to where we were, because I think there were a lot of positive in that change, but specific to that piece, I'd like to revisit it. Sure, open for that.
Okay, let's call the roll, please.
DeVore,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Sarchet, Walters.
Yes.
Item 1 under F is optional, waive second and third readings. I'll ask for a motion, please.
Second.
And if there's no discussion, we will call the roll.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore, Anderson,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Item G, second reading of ordinance 2022-2100, amending chapter 101, regulation of industrial wastewater, commercial wastewater, and hauled waste. I'll ask for a motion first, please.
So moved.
Second.
And Chelsea, I think, no. Do you have a report on this?
I can give a quick report. The council reviewed this at the August 8th city council meeting, but proposed ordinance changes based off of what the WRA is changing for those three things in the ordinance: regulation of industrial wastewater, commercial wastewater, and hauled waste.
Call the roll, please.
Vogel.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore, Anderson.
Yes.
And item H, second reading of ordinance 2022-1900, approving rezoning petition for 5810 Northwest 118th Avenue and 1000 East Northside Drive of 95.2 acres from A1 to R1. Ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
If there are no questions, we'll call the roll.
Walters,
Yes.
DeVore,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 7, reports and particulars. I guess we will begin with staff. Jason.
Yeah, I want to thank the Polk City Friends of the Parks. They had a Party in the Park fundraiser this past Saturday. Free will donation lunch with proceeds going towards the shade structure they're fundraising for at Leonard Park. The weather wasn't super cooperative for a picnic type environment. It was cool, it was windy, it was rainy, but they still did pretty well, all things considered. So I want to thank that group for continuing to invest in our parks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, great. How about Chelsea? Do you have something?
So we are still taking applications for our second annual Citizens Academy. We have spots available for up to 15 people, and so far we've received 4 applications. So we are looking for participants. If you know someone that would like to participate, I think that it was a great session last year. We had 4 evenings with the administration staff, police, fire, public works, parks, and library. And we had really engaging discussions with people that were just interested in city government operations. So if you know of someone, please send them our way.
Great, thank you. Council?
I can start. I just think it's exciting. We had a meeting tonight, and we've been talking with scooters is pretty much in the books, if you will, just talking about signage and whatnot, but also another commercial property in Home State Bank. I mean, that's what we strive to provide. We obviously have no problem getting residential facilities and they're getting the houses, the rooftops, but this commercial is really exciting to continue moving that forward. And so I just wanted to note that and thank the to companies for investing in Polk City, and because I'm sure there's lots of other places that they considered, and happy to have them both aboard. They both left, so they don't really care at this point, but just thought I'd say it for the greater good.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to say that I was part of that committee that made the selection on our water storage unit facility, and thank you for including me in that. It was not an easy decision. Spent a lot of time at it. I know I lost track 4 meetings.
There were a lot.
Yeah. Good time. No refreshments, but I won't bring that up.
They knew you'd already had your breakfast and coffee probably by the time you came home, right?
But it was something I was happy to do because it's needed in Polk City, and I'm glad it's going to happen.
Nothing from this end of the table?
Carla, Chief, I'm sorry. Thanks for your monthly update. Thanks for bringing all the new folks in. Congratulations to those promotions. For Justin's, it says top of his EMT class. How big of a class was it? Roughly.
20s, I think he was
Okay.
second by like a percentage.
That's cool. Good job.
He just passed his physical. So he should be certified in the next few weeks.
Good job. Good stuff. Thank you.
Jeff, I did want to turn back this way, just in case.
I didn't have any.
Okay, great.
Playing solitaire.
Okay. So the only thing that I have is I'd just like to echo everything that was said here by council members. This is an exciting time for Polk City, and it's just a lot of fun and very enjoyable. And we look forward to working with McClure on our water tower. And I agree with you that it was very close, but we think we made the right. We don't think. We know we made the right decision. Also, I'm going to put in a plug for the Citizens Academy. I participated in the Citizens Academy myself, and so let's all go out and find people to participate in that for the good of the city down the road. And then mayor's prerogative, I get the chance to introduce my son Kyle, who's here from Denver. Came to the council meeting tonight to see democracy in action. So this is great, and yes. And with that, I guess I will.
Well, before I make a motion, I'm sorry we didn't know you were a special guest. We could have made it more exciting.
I wish you wouldn't have said a word.
Thank you for being here. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?